at a short notice. Thanks to the officials of Odisha Corporate Foundation and Amit Babu. So before we start this meeting, Zoom meeting, so let me introduce our the panelists today. The people who have joined today in our panel, they are very eminent people in this field. As you know, I am D. Tripathi. We hail from Cuttack district, Jagatsinghpur area. But I was heading a BC channel and policy FI areas in one major bank before joining to this BCRC as MD and CO. And our another one eminent panelist is Mr. Panda. He was a engineer in a reputed college in Odisha. For last 15-20 years, he is in this field. And if you'll see the encyclopedia of BCs, Mr. Panda is one of the specialists in the country, and he's spearheading the cause of BCs in India from 2005-2006. Leaving the lucrative post, he has been co-founder of ZMF, Zero Mass Foundation. And another panelist, Mr. Gochayat, Nitin Gochayat, he is also co-founder of Drishti. He is also a master in business administration from Ford School of Business, New Delhi. He is also there doing some areas as NGO, skill development, entrepreneurship development, and how the rural market can be accessed by the urban people. They are working number of areas. They are also a national BC. Both ZMF is the leading BC in the country, and Drishti also, they are also a leading national BC in the country. And Mr. Himanshu Patra, he is a leading journalist in India. He was for last 20-25 years. He was the reporter of Prajatantra 15-20 years back, and he has a lot of expertise on SME, financial inclusion, and he is editor-in-chief of Entrepreneur Times, and he has covered 12th and 13th Lok Sabha as a journalist, and he is having a grasp of knowledge what is happening in Odisha. So I am welcoming all the panelists here. Before discussing, I will just give an overview of the BC model and where we stand in Odisha. Then I will go to our panelists for their adding value to our today's discussion. As you know, the BC concept, it was initiated by Reserve Bank of India in 2006. The BC model, business correspondent model, they are the face of public sector or private sector banks. They are the agents of the bank. They are reaching the securing the unsecured people, reaching the unreachable area, covering the uncovered people from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, from Andaman to Lakshadweep, even from Tawang to Jaisalmer. Everywhere you will find the BC. They are present through their CSPs or bank mitras, customer service point or the bank mitra. We are having around, if you see the current side of RBI, we are having around 5,41,000 CSPs in India. Of course, the brick and mortar CSP may be a little less. Out of 6,64,000 villages in the country, mostly 95% villages are covered by the CSP through the BC, business correspondent. So if you see their achievement for the last 15 years, it has been spectacular. All these 41 crore accounts, PMJDY account after 2014 August, they have shown a magnificent performance in all areas, in social security scheme, PMJDY, operates account opening. BCs have shown that magnanimity. Wherever people are unable to go, they have gone there, they have opened their CSP point, touch points. As you see the C. Rangarajan Committee report, 2018, that totally clearly defined financial inclusion, the making available, ensuring the accessibility of financial product, services, or the credit to the vulnerable class of society or the poor people at an affordable cost. And the BCs in that true spirit, they are spearheading the umbrella, they are spearheading the umbrella of banks, government of India in the rural remotest corner of this country. When we come to the Odisha, we are having around 54,000 villages, but up to March 2020, we are around 13,000 to 15,000 points we are having. Number of products, around 20-25 products, deposit, recurring deposit, fixed deposit, Aadhaar seeding, linkages, mobile seeding, and recovery deposit in the accounts, and even the electricity bill, mobile bill, lot of product, 24, 25 products are covered through these CSPs, customer service point, or the bank mitra, whose mentor are the BCs. BCs are working as an agent. They are working as the partner of nationalized banks, public sector bank, and even private banks of India. If you'll see the demography, if you'll see the Odisha situation, and you'll find only we are having 13 to 15,000 CSP. Not only accessibility of financial services or credit affordability or the institutional framework or the savings, credit, insurance, pension, remittance, mobile banking, all these facilities are provided to the common man in Odisha. So still a lot of things to be done. Odisha having a population of 4.7 crore. Out of that, people having more than 18 years is 3.2 crore population. But if you see Jan Dhan account, we have opened around 1 crore 50 lakhs account. Still number of account have to be opened. Mostly the BCs have made a big beginning there, and they show their performance those fields. Still 13 to 15,000 CSP point. I think although last 2 years through DFS, Department of Financial Services, they have covered all the villages. The CSP point nearby villages, they are linked. Still, there is a lot of things to be done in Odisha. It will help ameliorate the suffering of the poor people of Odisha. They will bring them to the security net, and also they will make prosperity, and they will having access to digital banking, and they will also their lifestyle or the life condition will improve. If more point also, it will generate some employment in the state. With this background, we have chosen this subject, and initially I invite Mr. Panda, who is the expert on this field, to throw some light for how the blueprint in these areas and can be increased to the footprints of the BCs in Odisha, because because we have knowingly chosen the Odisha people. Those are have made a place in the BC history of India. That is why Mr. Panda is one of them. He's one of the best expert in the country. I will give mic. I will request Mr. Panda throw some light in which way BC footprint in Odisha can be increased, so that our people, or the poor people, or the farmers, villagers, or the tribals, they can be benefited. Mr. Panda, I request Mr. Panda to throw some light.
Thank you, sir, for a great introduction, and Happy New Year to everybody. Uh, we are present in Odisha since 2008 as a business correspondent, starting first in Daringibadi in Pulbani with Punjab National Bank, and then extending this pilot with Union Bank of India in Mayurbhanj, UCO Bank in Katak Chodwar, and then with State Bank of India in Sukinda in Jajpur. So that's where we all started to showcase that how the technology of BC and financial inclusion can be leveraged by the bank, RBI, and the government. And after those pilots, it was kind of scaled up initially in 2010 to about 1,000 villages. And as we speak, all BCs put together in the state have reached about 13,000 outlets. SBI itself has taken the lead with about 5,000 outlets, and their RRB, that is Utkal Gramya Bank, has about 1,250 outlets. So several villages have been covered, and many millions of accounts have been opened. So we as a BC are present in about 970 villages total, uh, both for State Bank of India and Utkal Gramya Bank, covering all districts. Very remote parts of Malkangiri, Jharsuguda, the blocks which are not connected by any mobile network also are being covered through this channel. So a good technology has reached people who were excluded from banking system for a long time. So we look at it like an infrastructure, like there are good village roads in the state which is making good impact. Likewise, a good BC service also makes a huge impact on the people's lives. They are able to get their remittance, they are able to get their funds from the government, they are able to save, uh, create a recurring deposit, they create a small term deposit and things like that. And also it widens the security net, because now there is micro pension and micro insurance that is provided to these customers. So this is it has come up a long way from where we started, but there is still a very very long way to go. And as we progress, I will deliberate on a few of those. So off to Mr. Tripathi again.
Thanks, Mr. Panda. So I want to go Mr. Nitin, because he's also a ground reality. He understands Odisha better than anybody else. So I request Mr. Nitin to throw the light how we have more points in Odisha, how we can go, or what are the requirement, how can somebody a CSP, or if somebody want to be a CSP, what are the requirement, how it will help opening more number of points. So Mr. Nitin of Drishti.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Tripathi. Good evening, everyone, and a happy New Year. Thank you, Mr. Tripathi, for the introduction. So we are a national BC, and we have been we are one of the initial business correspondent. We started in 2007, and we were actually prior to that, we have been working in rural livelihood space, how to increase income of people in rural areas. So that is what we have been doing pan India. So while working in rural India, we realized that it is finance or banking services is very critical. If you do things to improve income of people in the village, and if they don't have option to save or keep their money in a safe place, then what happens is they spend. People are involved in agriculture in rural India, the income is cycling. When the income comes, they spend the money, and when they need money, they don't have it. So that's how we realized that banking system is very essential. So around 2005-6, when the Khan Committee was formed, so we were a part of Khan Committee, and we had realized that we need banking services in rural area, and the normal banking system cannot reach the normal brick and mortar banks, the investment thing kind of which is there. So that cannot work in rural area, because the cost which is required to set up a bank branch cannot be amortized by the income which can be generated. So that's how we become a part of Khan Committee in 2006, and then the business correspondent started, and we became one of the business correspondent and started working. There is, and when we talk about business correspondence, it rests on three pillars. One is product which are need based, which is required in the village. Second is a technology. That product needs to be delivered on a technology platform. Without technology, again, the cost cannot come down. So technology is the second critical factor. And the third critical factor is implementation. So how this can be implemented in a way that there is awareness creation in a rural area, and then there is once people are aware that they need to open a bank account, they need to save money, so there need to be accessibility. So through technology and through relevant product that can be accessible. And the fourth thing is availability of the right product. So this is broadly on the background on which we became a business correspondent, and as we were working in the ground in rural areas, so we were the business correspondent, and we started implementing this model. To for someone to become a business correspondent in a village, or a CSP, customer service point in a village, requires a basic computer or a computing device. So initially it was a computer, and now there are private banks and other banks, they're coming up with a system which can work on a mobile phone or a tablet. So that reduces the cost, and also, like in rural area, electricity problem is there. So these kind of devices also help overcome the electricity issue. Then second is like the person who becomes the business correspondent or an agent in the village needs to have certain capital, and then should be a person, like one of the important thing which is required is, like, the person should be able to mobilize people, like should go around in the village and mobilize people to come and open a bank account. So as Mr. Tripathi mentioned, like right now there has been through Jandhan and through other mobilization, almost 90% people have opened a bank account, but still we have a long way to go before this accounts become fully funded and people start operating these accounts. So that's why, like, there are more and more business correspondent and customer service point, or the BC points or agents are required on ground to facilitate that. Like through Jandhan, like even branches have opened the account, but this correspondents or agents are required in the village to mobilize or facilitate banking transactions. Over to you, Mr. Tripathi.
Thanks, Mr. Nitin. So now, from journalist point of view, Mr. Patra, he's a very senior figure in the country, and he's in Delhi. He's seeing closely what government of India is doing for last 2-3 decades. So from his view, although he's a man of industry, especially his specialization in SME, but still he's having a good knowledge and insight of financial inclusion in the country. So, and he's from northern Odisha, Baleshwar district, border of Bengal and Odisha. He has seen the rural areas in depth. So from his view, how this BC model will help to the state within the given products and delivery model. So, Mr. Patra.
Thank you, Tripathi, and good evening. Happy New Year to all the panelists and the persons who are been part of this. First of all, let me tell you something about the BC. In fact, you all are the experts, but I could tell you how the things can penetrate to various areas. What is the need of the hour at present? In Odisha, our state is very poor, everybody knows. And awareness is, lack of awareness is very much existed there in all the subjects. And particularly that business correspondence, that is something new. And I hope it needs to be penetrated deeply. But point is that with the existing facility, how things can move forward. See, technically and other issues, you all can explain that. But I can tell you certain areas where it can be easily your business correspondence agents or kind of the, kind of office or kind of thing can be set up and start working there. First of all, see, we have a blocks, panchayats, colleges, and area like, other, the village where there is a clubs, where this can be taken as the point, the location where this business correspondence can come and, start their working. As far as the, network of this business correspondence, we can remember it was in fact UPA 1 and UPA 2 particularly, they started expanding this network. The network is such, with everyone can understand that it was started with that transforming this sort of, this case transfer. So it was started with, for this, the beneficiaries from Government of India, the scheme started, and this is Jan Dhan accounts, particularly to promote this business correspondence. I mean, financial inclusion through business correspondence, that could be possible. And Jan Dhan account, which has been open for 1.5 crores, as Mr. Tripathi told, that will help them out. And secondly, in Odisha, we have different areas and having local, business entities. Like North Balesar, we have different products, kind of, pan, brittle, jo bolte hain. Then other areas like, Puri side, they have a different business. So in fact, we have to also see the business point of view, how people are small people, small, customers who has a desire to have a savings, that they can be the perfect and target to rope them for this business development. So for them, it will be a very, it will be an opportunity for them to reach the area, to open their accounts, to do the transactions, kind of that. So in Odisha, I think this Mr. Panda told ki Western Odisha, they have a penetration, but I need that the North Odisha and the coastal belt, that also need to be taken care of. Thank you, Tripathi. Over to Tripathi, Mr. Tripathi. You can explain more
Thanks,
about this.
Patra, for your insight. Because as you know, because this financial inclusion is positioned prominently as an enabler. If you'll see the World Bank Sustainable Development Goal by 2030, 17 development goals, 8 are pertaining to the financial inclusion. That which will maybe in total will be applicable to Odisha. Eradicating poverty, number 1, ending hunger, food security, promoting sustainable agriculture, profiting health and well-being, achieving gender equality and economic empowerment of women, promoting economic growth and jobs, supporting industry innovation, infrastructure, reducing inequality, then savings mobilization for investment and consumption, that's for growth. If all these factors are there, we are having around 5,000 commercial branches, 5,000 some plus branches in Odisha, and 13 to 15,000 CSP points are there. Whereas we are having around 54,000 villages. Certainly, if all this coming decade, 2030, that World Bank Sustainable Development Goals, which will be in total applicable for Odisha, certainly there is a big opportunity for this sector to pitch in. For the BCs to pitch in and create financial touch point all over the Odisha. Although all the villages, as per Government of India, they are connected, the BC point or the branch banking. Still, as you know, because some tribal area, Raigada, those areas, even Gajpati, and here also, as Mr. Patra told, North Soro and other those side also, North Baleswar. Still, even coastal side also, we are from the coastal Cuttack, east-wise Cuttack district, Jagatsinghpur. We find still some villages are still, they have to go 3 kilometer or 4 kilometer to have access of bank activity, bank accounts. So that is why this number, to increase the number, there is certainly it is a much more requirement, that potential there. But as Mr. Panda was telling, whenever these BCs, the CSP come into being, initially expenditure, the IT system, laptop and other even handheld devices also, a minimum cost will be around 50 to 60,000 rupees. And even to handle the CSP, their capacity building, training, and cost towards the compliance and the risk measures their BCs are taking, maybe the per point maybe 15 to 20,000 rupees initially the BCs are investing. So with such when the bank, because bank they although they are agent, whenever any transactions done by the BCs, on that basis they pay the BCs, and CSPs are paid from that 70%, 80%, 90%. But the main problem lies in the initially settling or the establishment of this point, because some of the, of course, government also trying to pitch in NABARD, so that initial in northeastern states they are doing cost of the machine, cost of the laptop they are doing. Whether this can be thought up in Odisha, because I don't know, because the government department or the Odisha State Livelihood Mission or any agency there, if the proceeding from today proceeding, if they can be approached, if the new points coming, because bank also, because they cannot spend the money towards establishment of the point. BC also in especially the areas where a tribal population is there, or forest areas are there where population are scarce, economic activity is less, to open a point and sustaining basis to carry that activity, it is a challenge. So on keeping that in view, so whether those things can be thought of, some state government they are thinking also, but we have not come across if anybody state government has funded towards that cost of the machine or anything. So that is why because whenever we will grow, because the coming 10 years, and this micro, because not only account opening or social security scheme, we are a very nascent stage on social security scheme. If you'll see, and our PMJGBI only, we have opened around 45 lakhs account. PMJGBI also 12, 13 lakhs, and API also 5 lakhs plus. So still a lot of thing has to be done at the rural level. If these points are open, all the support will be required. So what type of support or what type of expectation, because as Panda is leading in that BC from BC, so I request through he can tell what support or what guidelines or what support in Odisha, especially from tribal district or the forest areas where there is communication is, of course, nowadays communication has become good, because still this communication network, there is a problem in some Naxalite areas and other areas. So, so from that angle, from BC perspective, and the cost of also compliance and risk also hitting them a lot. So I request him. So what type of support or hand-holding or from government side or any other agency required for BC to give deep root in those areas where if we will grow further coming 5 years or 10 years. Mr. Panda.
Yes, sir. So since I was talking about BC as an infrastructure, infrastructure, building infrastructure, maintaining it, sustaining it is always a big challenge, right? In a poor setup like especially in a poor country like India, and then on top of it a poor state like Odisha, right? So there are two fold approach to it, or we look at this activity in a two-way mechanism. One is to ride on existing businesses. So let's say there are areas where there is milk procurement happening, right? So there are people, let's say there is a village person who is helping the milk company procure milk. So he has some infrastructure, and he is also earning a little bit from that activity. So we are looking at that kind of setups where population is more, and there is more business, so that person can invest in the infrastructure and start as a business. The big challenge is areas where either population is low or reaching the location is very difficult. We still find a lot of locations, let's say in Gajapati, Jharsuguda, Kalandi, Malkangir, Koraput, Sambalpur, Sundargarh. These are districts where you still have a lot of blocks and lot of panchayats where connectivity is a big issue. And there are some schemes through which NABARD and the bank provide a VSAT connection, but that managing it and reaching it and then maintaining it over a period of time is a huge challenge, right? So those are the areas where more support is required, because they also will not generate so much business. You need somebody to be present so that service is delivered, right? You can't expect a lot of business out of that location. So both the approach has to yield some result. We are seeing the green shoots, but still a long way to go. There is a struggle.
Hello.
Yes, sir. So have I answered the question, or
Yes, 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 yes.
Yeah,
This,
Mr. Panda, hello. This is Himanshu Patra this side.
yes, sir?
I see what I suggest as far as infrastructure is concerned. I'm talking about particularly the coastal belt. And as I said, the panchayat blocks and the colleges, particularly if you target the colleges, they are getting infrastructure and getting a one small computer or spending a 50,000 for them. It will not be that very big issue. But it can be like where I studied that, the FM College Walasore. There we have a post office inside that, college. So if that can be taken, that post office place key inside that college, that can be a point of business correspondence. Other colleges and the remote areas, there are so many colleges are there where can be done, or blocks into the panchayat also. Nowadays panchayats, they are getting a lot of money, because this sarpanch is the now became a head of this, spending this all sort of money, the grants. So they can also start doing that. If we can monitor, or we can push this idea to them, I hope they can take up these, business correspondence unit there. Am I right?
yes, yes, you are correct, very much correct. Because in coastal areas, a lot of interior, even high schools are there, colleges are there. Still, people go to the bank to have their account operated there. So that is there what you are telling.
Secondly, you have to develop a culture, within the students, who could understand very beginning, right from day one of their, journey, career. So they can start doing the sort of, they can also spread they can be the agent as well. Ghar ka jo, matlab at home, whatever the possibility, utility services, drawing, withdrawing, they need not to go anywhere. They are family members. If the student is going to college, they can do all the activities there. What I understand, if I'm not wrong. Likely, in villages, every panchayat, they can give you this infrastructure. They are also provided computers and kind of that. And nowadays, they are not very much depending on the blocks, or I mean videos, or the collector to spend money. They can have their own way to spend. I'm talking as far as this expenditure of the panchayat levels, expenditure. So that they can also do it. Or block mein to easily in the block areas they can do. As far as the infrastructure is there, if you see these are the avenues, you need not to spend anything rather. You have to just link it and tie it up.
Can I
Yes, yes.
can I
Nitin,
respond
you
to
can
this?
add also, because you are working in the rural field, entrepreneurs development. So you
Yeah.
can also throw your light on this.
Uh, no, just a response to yeah, Mr. Patra, what he suggested. Yeah, definitely there are infrastructures which are available, like maybe at block level or at panchayat level, as you mentioned, at colleges also have infrastructure. But we need to see like how this business correspondent model grew, like from like when we started. Mr. Panda, he started, and then after we started, the model that we follow is a entrepreneurship based model, like having an entrepreneur who runs the model, and giving it to a panchayat or a college, so that way it is it may work or it may not work, because like when there is an entrepreneur who is there and who is getting certain revenue and is driven by the income, so then that person like is eager to provide the services and facilitate. But like when we do it at a panchayat or a college, then there may not be a person who is driving that. So that will become a bottleneck in service delivery or growth of this model. So
No,
therefore,
excuse me. My point is that take the infrastructure from them, and
Mhm.
you appoint your people there. Have some tie-up business,
Okay.
You take the infrastructure, the other facilities, and you put your person. So as
Mhm.
a result, they can be benefited, or you can run according to your entrepreneurial activities or the policies or whatever you need. You can do it. You be independent, very autonomous. But thing is that only I am talking about as far as the infrastructure is concerned. They are lying there in colleges, blocks, and panchayats, and they can very well spend also 50, 60,000. It's not a very big issue, and you put your person there. That's
Mhm.
my point.
I tend to agree with Mr. Patra. Actually, there are a lot of times when these infrastructures get used, like the, let's say, panchayat house or a school, let's say, especially when after the pandemic hit and we were doing
Yeah, right.
Garib Kalyan Yojana disbursements, because you required larger space because you had to have social distance, and the BC location was small, so maybe you couldn't fit so many people and maintain that distancing. Also, you may not have a facility for washing hands and things like that. So a lot of places these infrastructures have got used and they have become very handy, in fact, for during that rush hour.
Actually, one of the requirement as you are discussing, the CSP or the customer service point, because once one point is created, one point is established, because another person also, somebody, I am on leave or I am sick or I am having a function, so another person will be there. Because as per the requirement, as I was discussing, the minimum requirement to be a CSP is a +2. He has to be a +2 pass, and he should have a basic computer knowledge, and he should be from that area, and he should not be a defaulter of any loan or any type of liability anywhere, no loan. And he should have a good skill also, at least whatever skill required to communicate or to know, because the training also given by the BCs and the bank also. So that is the basic requirement, so that if suppose 5 points are open, maybe the 10 people will get the employment. So that is the there. So one of the major problem the BC face, suppose I want to point 1,000 points in the Odisha, because those points has to be approved by the banks, because these are to be linked, these are to be supervised by the bank branches under their supervision, their accounts. They will be totally, these accounts, whatever account will be opened by the CSPs or the deposit account or the deposit, everything, it will be as if it is opened by the banks. It has to be approved by the bank. The deposit will be shown up the bank deposit. So automatic, the supervision, the follow-up and inspection of this CSP point totally lie with the banks. So that is why sometime if I will suppose I am a BC, I want to open 550 point, but the concerned banks, they have to approve it. They have to agree that these XYZ point BC has to open the point. So considering the situation in Odisha as a sustainable development goal, all 8 goals are there. To achieve that, we certainly require a good number of points, because we know the coastal Odisha, even coastal Odisha also, wherever there is no communication problem, there is no entrepreneur problem, people having good computer knowledge, but the license or the agreement or the approval is given has to be given by the bank. That is why the bank having a major role to play to see that digitalization in Odisha or the financial access to the common man reach at a very convenient and a very easy manner through this BC. So that is why even if suppose XYZ or BC they want to open their shops, the CSP point or bank mitras, so they will be requiring the assistance of the branch, the approval of the bank to open those points. In India, we are having majorly, we are having around 60, 50, 40 to 50 national BCs, or around 40 to 50, total 100 BCs are there. In SBI, around 19-20 national BCs, 45, 46 are state BC. Totally around 66, and other bank put together, maybe we are having a 100 BC business correspondent in India. So those people, those are some of the people are very, very serious player. They are working for last 1 decade or more than that. As Panda puts, they are working 2007. They started their point in Aizawl, where we have just RBI declaring their policy 2006, and they opened the point in 2007. So that is why some of they are serious player. So these here also the support of the bank will be required, and in that context, I ask Mr. Panda what more required for opening more point, bearing because the funding constraint or the technology or the connectivity, but the basic point lies with the bank's approval or the state government coming into impressing the bank to have give approval for more point in Odisha. Mr. Panda, you
Yes.
can tell about something on this.
So actually, 15 years have passed. As I'm again emphasizing as an infrastructure point, right? Infrastructure takes time. Infrastructure is a painstaking process, and one has to be very diligent and also patient, because it doesn't happen so fast. So in the first 15 years, I would think that the BC 1.0 has happened. So now is the time for BC 2.0, right? So the first 15 years was about creating that access, going there, finding a person, putting, and 1.0, when I say, it's not fully done, but to a large extent it is done, right? Especially with the Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, it has kind of spread the access, right? In 2.0, the infrastructure needs further strengthening, right? Wherever connectivity issues are there, those have to be fixed soon, either by broadband or by VSAT or mobile. That is a big first priority. Uh, the second part is to create capacity by training, because we have found rather this whole structure is informal, right? You are finding an entrepreneur, trying to make him learn the basics of banking, and to implement banking in the village. uh, so further training and further handholding is required, literacy is required, customer interactions are required, and that part of the infrastructure is also a very large, and a big need is there, and I would say that there is a gap there, for further filling up of that gap. More technology, more access on the learning part has to happen, so that further deepening of the services will happen, and in a sustainable manner. The third part is on products. So far in BC 1.0, as I said, was liability driven, which means you only opened a savings account, you created the savings habits, you are doing a small recurring deposit, a small term deposit, or a micro insurance or micro pension. Those are great services, and they have really helped the masses, right? Beyond that, we have to look at in 2.0 further products, maybe enhance the bill payment ecosystem further, get into assets, right? Today, the rural market loan portfolio is mainly being catered by NBFCs and MFIs, or that has to come back to the banking mainstream possibly, right? And that the use of the BC channel can be very good for that, uh, and further training and further providing those products are necessary now. And also it will bring down the cost for the banks of both delivering a loan and collecting the loan. And also, since these people are available on the ground, NPA issue will be a much reduced one, because now at least there is somebody to go and talk to that borrower, right? So these are primarily the three things: connectivity, learning, and more products. That will be the need going forward.
Actually, what Mr. Panda was telling, because 1.0 or 2.0, because the basic account opening and the remittance, deposit, other thing, or social security schemes, it has been now, it is taking a deep root, and it is expanding also. But in 2.0, as you are suggesting, because the products and innovation required in 2.0, Mr. Nitin, can you tell actually which department or which agencies will be required to enhance broaden the product base? Any policy intervention should be there from government side, from RBI or Government of India, or any other agency, so that suppose this bill payment system there, still some of the even the supply electric distribution company, they are not come into the bill payment system in Odisha, or any other support will be requiring from as far as policy is concerned, so that this even if suppose new points are coming up, there should not be any sustainability issue or viability issue, or it will in 2.0 even the micro credit also, or the micro finance S to SHG, other members also, or the small loan also, even deposit loan against deposit, because again he has to go to a branch, even getting a 2,000 rupees loan against his deposit. So can you tell about the new product or innovation, whichever the agencies support will be required, if we'll grow in a large number, setting up our CSP or Bank Mitra in Odisha? Mr.
Yeah, so like first thing, like if we see our like population, Odisha population, so we have around 4.4 crore population, out of which more than 80% population lives in rural India, in Odisha. Like for a person to live somewhere like urban or rural, one thing which is essential is a livelihood or a source of income. And like 80% population, or around more than 3.5 crore population of Orissa, which is in rural area. So they cannot sustain on only on agriculture, or also if they're doing agriculture, there is innovation which needs to come in. And to do these things, so there is need for capital. Yeah, as Mr. Panda said, like the BC 1.0, like it got people into the mode of saving. When we started, like even in Odisha, when we had started BC operation, the average balance per account was around 50 rupees. And from that point, like it has moved to around 2,200 rupees average balance, which is there now in Odisha. So people have moved from what is a bank account to now saving money in the bank. So the thrift part that has come in. So we now need to introduce credit. As Mr. Panda mentioned, like the credit right now is managed through the NBFCs and microfinance organization. So a policy level change needs to be there for BCs to use this infrastructure which has been developed to lend, and more for lending for entrepreneurship or livelihood development in rural India. That can do two things. Like one is address the employability issue which is there in rural India, and second is like the rotation of capital. Like we all know that like when the capital rotates, like then there is economic growth which happens. But right now with only liability product, what we are doing is like we are getting money out of the village. Like people are saving in the village, but that money, the bank that is going to other areas as credit or this thing. So that also needs to go back to the village. So that cycle has to complete for economic growth in the village. So first is there is a policy change which is required, wherein the BCs can get into credit. And second is like the bank need to come up with product, and product like the microfinance also like which was developed, like there are two broad models which are there, the SHG model and the JLG model. They're there, they have done a great impact, but like they have a kind of fixed product, like you lend and then the fixed weekly or a monthly installment you pay back. But like we need to come up with more innovative products, like so wherein like if someone wants to get into farming, so what is the kind of loan product that a farmer requires, or like so these kind of products which are required, some kind of flexi credit which is required. So these products which can help people in the village get their like capital for fixed asset or working capital, and do business and economic growth can happen. And yeah, that's the first thing which is very essential now that the infrastructure has been developed. So we need to start the asset products through this network for rural growth. And then like once this happens, the second thing which is required is a need-based insurance product. Again, like insurance product which can protect people in the village. Like right now, even the agri insurance which are there, crop insurance or weather insurance or agriculture insurance, these are these products which are there. So those are there are certain like products design issues which are there, and second is like that doesn't ride on the BC network. So which are required by the farmer, and so the product needs to be developed, innovated, and second is there is promotion which needs to be there. Like so NABARD or other agencies needs to come forward in promoting those product in rural areas, so people know the benefit of insurance and they protect themselves, because rural areas the farmers are very vulnerable. So if due to any weather issue or any pest issue, their crop gets destroyed, so they're completely their economics or the finances are completely gone. So then there needs to be protection. So insurance, proper insurance product needs to go to the village, and this network which has gone to the villages, the BC or CSP network, so it can ride on that. Then the third this thing which is required, again like in the second case also, like in the insurance, there is some modification in IRDA policy which is required. So that this CSPs or the BC agents can qualify and become the agent to disburse this product. Right now, the kind of IRDA examination which is required to dispense insurance product, these agents may not qualify, or so there needs to be a simpler qualification criteria by IRDA for these kind of agent. Then third is like there are add-on services which can go, like as you mentioned about this electricity bill, utility bills, or certain e-governance services also can ride on this network, because this wherever the centers are there, there is a computing device, there is some connectivity. So other government services can ride on this network. So that way, both like this point becomes a multi-product service delivery, mostly financial services delivery to the village, and this add-on services can also bring sustainability to the person running this center.
Sir, can I take
hello.
it?
Yes, Mr. Panda. Yes.
Yeah, just to add to what Mr. Nitin was mentioning about the flexi products, right? Actually, Mr. Tripathi has done many great things in the channel, and one of the things he promoted was a flexi recurring deposit, and huge success with that. Basically, what he did was he created a uh, a sachet like thing, like an FMCG company does a shampoo sachet or a detergent packet sachet. He created a recurring deposit, and it was a flexible deposit. So let's say a woman in the village, she has 10 rupees today, she can put 10 rupees. If she has 20 rupees tomorrow, she can put 20 rupees. So there is no the frequency and the amount is completely flexible. Only the interest rate and the tenure is fixed. So the benefit is immense, and a lot of people come into the channel as a result. So a similar approach for insurance and credit, particularly keeping in mind the economy of our Odisha locations, right? Seasonality is there, there is when they produce and when they earn. Use cases like somebody is a milk farmer, somebody is a paddy farmer, somebody is a vegetable farmer, things like that. So uh, th- a lot of work is required there for both insurance and credit going forward.
Mr. Tripathi, I would like to add something.
Yes, please.
That operational point of view. See, we have some, as far as this microfinance is concerned, that in our side, I had some example, the people from, I'm in the North Odisha, I'm in North Balesar, which is very adjacent to West Bengal. So people are coming from West Bengal and giving some money to the self-help group. And after a week, they come and collect the product. I mean, they are giving to make something, some design, some embroidery work. They pay money to buy and to do a lot of things. Then when they take back, they also pay some profit to the self group people. I mean the ladies. So then they suppose they got money some 20 rupees, 50 rupees per head. How they can deposit immediately? So for my point is that if from the BC, if a doorstep collections kind should be there, then I think it will be more, useful to on that.
Absolutely.
That
Actually, yes, yes.
yeah. What they do from West Bengal, I'm telling you, they're from West Bengal. They are coming to Odisha. They give, they bring the materials. You do this embroidery. After a week, I'll take these things from you, and I'll pay money. So there is a group. They get, and for thread and needles kind of that, or other kind of button pattern for them also they provide little amount. So they take the after 7 days they come and they collect the finished product, and they pay them the their labor charges plus the other other expenses जो भी है, that they pay them. So that amount immediately they spend it. If there is a doorstep collection, so I hope that that money can be saved from there. You see, in a pocket, if you have a 50 rupees, obviously it will be spent. If it goes to immediately to somewhere savings, it will takes time to spend that. My point is that.
No, in such cases, Patra Sahab,
हाँ sir.
because that Government of India, National Rural Livelihood Mission,
हाँ,
they are having their SSG list. They told give a list to different state also. So amongst them, the members, whoever want to be a CSP, because we told from bank side, if whoever come to become a CSP under our national BCs or the circle BC, they can come to them, and within the existing parameter, they've qualified that they can be member. So that if I am a member of a group, SSG group, I am a CSP also, I can collect that. But going to their doorstep, because now slowly doorstep banking is coming, because since it is a 1 point fixed type location, and unless that sub-queue are given, that also multiple channel point are coming by State Bank, but other bank may be also following that suit, but that is there. And 2-3 point it was highlighted here, Mr. Nitin was telling, because SHG or this MFI and that NBFC in some state they are giving the loans also. Because I fully agree when he's telling. Suppose I am a BC, as Mr. Panda, suppose they are working for last 14-15 years, and their net worth is good, and they are the very compliant or risk mitigated agency or their company. So if they can be also for small loan, I'm not telling they can go for 1,000 crore loan like that, small loan. So they can be, that can be also, it is policy intervention required, maybe RBI or government side. This is a good thinking, and I was also thinking similar line to take up with any authority, so if that can come. Secondly, as he was telling this insurance other thing, because we made a presentation to IRDA also in December 8th, 2019, they have permitted the bank, the BCs and CSP, they can sell the small policy, small, very, very easy, that ready-made policy, which is very easy to understand, so that they can also sell in the market. As regards this crop insurance and other thing, number of thing in state government, other add-ons also, because suppose birth certificate or death certificate or some fees depositing in the tahsil or a block for some certificate, that some state they have done in a very way, and it is doing through our CHP also in Madhya Pradesh. In Punjab, we have seen they are doing in a very, very dedicated way. We don't know in Odisha, even whether it has been done or not. Not as far as my knowledge goes, in all cases, it is not there. CSC, they are having a common facility, their center, they are different type of center, they are doing this thing. But it can be also, these services also can be added to make this channel more competitive and more sustainable. So, because main number of points we have discussed here. Because certainly, but we feel there is a requirement of more point in Odisha. Certainly, it will help in eradicating poverty, because a lot of people still people staying in very wretched condition. They don't have access financial services, social security net, other even small loans also they don't have access. Once more point is there, sometime we feel if more point there, more sustainability will be. So not like that. When, because you see our is a I village from Jagatsinghpur block, and more enlightened village in the state, I can say. But still 60-70% people don't have a bank account in my village. So certainly, if more shops are closed, demand will increase. So more points are opening, demand will be there. People will go. Suppose I am unable to open an account, कौन जाएगा 4-5 किलोमीटर के जीवो 4-5 किलोमीटर जीवो account खोलिवो. If I am having in my front CSP, certainly I'll go open account on 100 rupees. Maybe whenever I am having 300-400 rupees excess, I can deposit as a my deposit or 3 fund will also increase. Because unless that is there, people will not go. So I feel we are having a more point required BC, and all the major BCs will come. Certainly they are also interested, their channel should grow. And especially in Odisha state, we feel as compared to some of the states which are very, very especially in, I'm in Maharashtra, Mr. Nitin also is in Nashik, he must have seen how developed they are, those states in agriculture or in logistic or any small industries or cottage industry they are developed. Even if we are having a skill, we are having entrepreneurship, we are having not much access to the finance, much access to the financial services, not much access to the non-financial services, which are also required for our daily needs, our sustenance. So that is there. And with this note, because 2-3 major points we have discussed here, when we want to more points, certainly some maybe some subsidy or some amount is required, some protsahana is required, some from government side to have a capital expenditure made to some extent. It is required. This is one of the first point. Some policy required maybe for the making the BCs to lend through the bank, that also be required. And even some required from government side to request the bank to give more points in maybe those undeveloped districts, even the developed district where population is more, even if one village, we can give also 1 or 2 point, one panchayat, we can give more number of points also. That also request has to be coming to the bank also, or SLBC also. That will be required also. And regarding the bucket of services or the government services or the government the activities which are through can be channelized to the BCs also, more product, more innovation, that is also required. And some products, small intervention required. Suppose I am having a 5,000 rupees deposit. When that BC or CSP is giving that deposit 5,000, he is mobilizing. Why he cannot decide to give a loan 2,000 rupees to that person when his son or daughter is fell sick? Again he has to go to the branch. Maybe approval is required. That also required from bank side, small thing. So, but Odisha need a special treatment. Odisha need a special type of guidance or a hand-holding from all of us. So that is required. And the organizer who may be here today also, we maybe give some input to them to write, because they are doing a very good action point. They are emerging, whatever emerging in the meeting, they are writing to different agencies. That also coming to our notice. That is a very good step. But certainly, once this segment financial access is from nook and corner of the state, it will financial activity, it will also increase. Even if you see Kenya, if somebody is selling a vegetable, he is having a a mobile there, that is there. But I don't think in the village market in Odisha, in ହାଟରେ କୋଉଠି ଏମିତି କି ଅଛି ଯେ ମୋବାଇଲ ଧରିକିରି ବସିଛି ଯେ ପେମେଣ୍ଟ ଆମେ ଯାଇକିରି କରୁଛେ 20 ଟଙ୍କା କି 30 ଟଙ୍କା. But that stage we have to come to that stage also. Certainly in those line, BC is with their technology, with their knowledge, with their hand-holding, with their technical know-how, entrepreneurship, they can our handhold our entrepreneur, unemployment youth for developing entrepreneurship, skill development, and at least access the financial services, non-financial services to the poor people, the tribal people. Suppose 12 rupiah we are having only 47 lakhs account. If somebody he become incapacitated, he lost his eye, he has lost his life, certainly he can get 2 lakh or 1 lakh rupees. So that also our role is coming, not only for only business consideration or income or sustenance, to service to the society, service to the state, service to the poor people. With this note, I request everybody.
Yeah, excuse me, Tripathi.
Yes.
Sorry to disturb you. There is a question
Yes,
there is a question from Vivek Misra. Someone who wants to know what is the revenue model of BC and CSP. How a new person can start a CSP in his area. There is a question, if you can reply that.
If there is no point there, so he can approach the nearby the branches. If nearby branch is there, because now different bank having different type of setup for overseeing, for approving, or giving the approval, or giving the it is not license, but giving the approval to open a point raised to the banks. So he can approach to the branch that there is a 5 schools are there, 1 hut is there, but our people are not there. He can approach the bank also. And we are having, especially in SBI, we are having 19 national BCs. They are operating in Odisha. Around Odisha state having 14 state BCs are there. They are also approach. They can approach them also. So if he is a 12 pass, he is having a computer knowledge. He is having he can spend around 30,000-40,000 rupees. So he can start. He can approach to the branch. So banks also, depending on their setup, which is the nearby BCs. Suppose he is one block, 1 BC is approaching nearby village. They can decide which BC will be convenient for them to approach, or he can also approach the BC. So on that basis, so that point can be opened. Number of points that is opening on that logic. Although in State Bank, their head office is deciding, or the DSH, that district sales of now model has come, they are deciding. But in other bank also, maybe their regional offices or branches, they are deciding. So he can approach. If he is having 12 pass, he has to, within 6 months, he has to, RBI is conducting that the Institute of Bankers, they are conducting one exam for basic knowledge, because some knowledge he has to pass that exam. 50%, he has to secure that 40% mark. He has to secure once within 6 months within the setup, and he should get a police report also. There should not be any criminal case or any other case against him. So that is also required. Or other thing, that basic thing. Suppose I am in my PAN card or my Aadhaar card, that is their voter ID card. That is the requirement, basic requirement for anything, account opening. So that holds good for also his CSP. He can
What is the
approach the bank.
what is the hello? What is the
Yes,
revenue
sir.
model? He asked. No, what is the
Revenue model? Whatever. Suppose if 10 transaction is CSP is doing, he is getting 10 rupees from the bank. So we are paying to the 10 rupees to the BC. BC, what he is telling, he is giving 9 rupees after tax, other thing. So he sometimes is giving 8 rupees or 9 rupees to the CSP. So whenever, suppose our state bank, whenever he pays that amount, similar day 10 rupees we are crediting to the BC, and within 1 hour, that 10 rupees and 9 rupees we are debiting his account and crediting to the CSP, the bank mitra. Is same day, the similar credit is going to the BCs and CSP. 80%, 90%, 75%. In rural areas, around 85, 90%. In rural commission, State Bank is giving 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 rupees. That amount, 90, 95% BCs are sharing with the CSPs of that amount. So that model is there, depending on the strength of the BC, depending their operational area. Suppose I am having a 500 point in Odisha. So my strength, my financial capacity is more. I am having a very dedicated setup. So I can, so they can guide the CSP. They can handle the CSP. He can give the strategy to the CSP so that he can earn more. So if you earn more, I can pass more also. It is a volume game. So if I am suppose 5 CSP, if the CSP want, you give me 95%, it is not possible. So because 5 CSP also, one person will be stationed in Bhubaneswar or Cuttack to oversee the activities of 5 CSP. So he has to get 20,000 or 30,000 rupees. So only that 5 CSP can earn that to give that. So that case maybe 70%, 60%, 65%, 75%, I can share to that CSP. Of course, it is a centralized basis, not state specific or district specific, that sharing pattern. They give a mandate all over to the bank. On that basis, we pay to the CSP or the BC. But some other bank, private bank and other bank, they're having a different model. So whatever I earn, I'll get it, and that amount, some percentage, I will get it, give to the CSP. But major model, what our State Bank is doing, mostly the public sector bank are doing same model. Suppose throughout the month, whatever transaction, number of transaction, amount you have deposited, on that basis, average commission, zero balance account, or funded funds. So on that basis, we are passing the commission to the BCs, and on the basis of the mandate, 80%, 75%, same day, a centralized basis, centralized commission payment module by in State Bank of India. Similar model in some bigger banks, nationalized banks, they are also paying to the BCs, and in turn, it is going to the CSP. This is the revenue sharing model.
Yeah, but Tripathi, so my request is that before summing up, I mean the concluding. I think you are going to conclude it, isn't?
No,
you throw some
can I speak one clarity?
and Patra, you would send a sum up. So we'll sum up and then conclude.
Yeah.
I need some clarity.
Yes.
Please go ahead.
The thing is, do you feel that these people, I mean, who are serving as this bank mitras, they're always on the move, right?
Right.
So suppose
No, they're fixed point actually, fixed point model.
Fixed point model. And is there any
fixed point model from 8 to 8 p.m.
Okay, but is there any issue of infrastructure? I mean, brick and mortar, supposing wherever they are there, as you were talking of distance factor and all that. So are they stationed in a particular place?
Correct. So they are
move.
fixed point model. Suppose I am having a house in front of my drawing room, or my small one dukani there, or small shop there, or gumti there. So I have opened that point there, because that signboard will be there. This is the CSP of State Bank or PNB or Bank of Baroda, and this is under the aegis of the BC. Suppose Zero Mas or Drishti or Save or Sanjeevani, like that. So that will be there. Fixed point will be there, because he will be there, because rural people, they know this person sits, that place is there. So that longitude, latitude, now Government of India, Department of Financial Services, they have mapped those points, longitude, latitude. So my point, my holding that laptop, it is already mapped. The village and the panchayat, the block, wherever I am sitting, it is mapped. So it is a fixed point location. Only thing is, suppose after 8, I want to go for deposit mobilization, but telling people to go for Social Security, PMJGY, PMSBI, API, that depends on me. But that time when that transaction are not being held at the, not operated in the counter or the.
I just had one suggestion, I mean, for your consideration to explore. That is, each and every panchayat in the country, and for that matter in Odisha also, they have a building apart from that panchayat thing that is known as Bharat Nirman Rajiv Gandhi Seva Kendra. That is a house, okay, and it is facilitated with toilet and all that. So when sarpanchs are having this enormous decision-making authority, so if banks can take it up with panchayats or centrally with the Panchayat Raj department to at least use one room out of that to get this banking thing for the people, I think the business may go up and because panchayat is a nodal point.
Correct. Very good point actually, because this Odisha livelihood mission, they have become CSP, they have become a BC has come, but still what you told, lot of panchayat, they are having access room, even that is there, because only government has to approach or the bank have to approach to the government, because only that, if only Odisha livelihood mission, they may not have manpower, they may not have to supervise every panchayat. So other BC can come to the take those points, because Odisha, those panchayat office are like that. Odisha livelihood mission around 150 or 200 points they have come up within last 1-2 years. What you are telling, that is right, because those points, those rooms can be utilized for the even those centers that can be used also, because government side or the bank side, they have to come up actually that this can be used by the. We can give a suggestion to government from our.
Explore this because in not many panchayats these rooms are lying vacant.
Correct. Very good suggestion. We are also thinking that, yes.
Thank you.
So Panda Sahab, last any thought we can sum up? You can sum up, or anything you can tell, and we will sum up.
Tripathi, I can tell something to Panda Sahab. If he can expand his network to that North Balasar side, block-wise, that will be a point.
Okay.
Certainly, sir. We will take note of that, and we will work on it also.
Panda, thank you. After a long time I'm meeting you.
Yes, sir. Actually, Mr. Tripathi, you should know Mr. Ashok Das. He is a very, very enthusiastic and a very resourceful person, knowing entire state nook and corner, right? So, because he has been covering all the government schemes, their efficiency and efficacy over so many decades, right? And very, very positive person. So, some way, should keep talking to him.
Thank you. I am always there.
Okay. Anything, Nitin Babu, you want to tell, or we can sum up?
No, so good. So definitely, like, we are looking forward, like we have a presence in Odisha in BC network. We are expanding, and also like we have recently started expanding, like we're setting up our livelihood thing in Odisha. So connecting rural Odisha producers to urban India. So that is what we are starting in Odisha.
Okay. So this is our first initiative, and we just taken Mr. Panda, Mr. Nitin, and our Patravu, who is in Delhi. So certainly a lot of thought we have already shared here. And if government agencies or the Financial Inclusion Forum in point of time, because we also form Business Council, Resource Council. to only supplement the efforts of the government or the BCs or the stakeholders. So certainly any policies or what is happening in other countries, what is happening in other state, what is happening in any other arena of this sort. So we will be sharing, we will be very happy if any forum or anybody take our services at any point of time for capacity building or anything, we will be very happy to render it. And a few the take off from this today meeting or discussion will take off, and we'll take up with OCF also. The very good initiative by OCF and this business correspondent, because we will certainly touch to the point who matter in the scheme of thing in Odisha, because industrialization, everything that is there, it is for bigger people, but especially the BCs, the CSP, reaching to the people who does not have a square meal or who is a daily laborer, it will be the time to serve them. With this note, I thank to the organizers, especially Joseph, Amit Babu, and Vera, who are very instrumental and give this freedom. And I thank Mr. Panda, Mr. Nitin, and Patrao, who has given their time. And they are also, everybody, we are very much concerned for the welfare of Odisha. That is why we are the FI expert in the country, and we have come together and brainstormed here today. Of course, the participants and some of the people sent me a message, they could not be connected. Of course, 25 or I don't know the number, but certainly even a small number, it will have a very good cascading effect. And even any conclave where anything for FI sector, if take our help or they feel we should be associated, we will be very grateful. Thanks to everybody. Thanks to participants, Amit, Vera.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Some Aditya Das wanted to know your telephone number, if you can give him.
9819.
You can put
9819.
in the chat, sir. You can put in the chat.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you all.
Thank you, Gondav. Thank you, Gochato. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Cool.
Gochato, namaskar.
Thank you. Namaskar. Namaskar.
After long, we are able to see. Dasu, it was a nice question. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Das Babu.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Tripathi. Okay.